And welcome back to Chalk Talk here on SteelersDepot.com. I am Alex Kozora. You saw the new introduction. Hope you guys like it. Just had a little time in the morning. Wanted to do something just to introduce each video from now on. If you like the music there, that was by the artist Tobu and the royalty-free music. Check them out. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to see some more of their music. I think it's fantastic, not only just for videos, but just to listen to. So check it out if you'd like. But today we're talking about Antwon Blake. Reader request. Thank you guys for your comments in the last video. I wanted to try to get to Jarvis Jones, and I went back and looked at my notes. I just didn't have enough content there because of all the time he missed, the limited snaps he had this year to really feel comfortable doing a video on him. What I will do is leave a link either in the description of this video or below the article on SteelersDepot.com highlighting an article I did right before the start of training camp last year that looked at his bend, compared it to James Harrison, and some of the expectations I had for Jarvis Jones. I think it still is applicable now. And so I'll leave that in the description. Because I already did that, for start of camp, I felt like I didn't need to do another video now because his playing time and what you learned from Jarvis Jones in 2014 was fairly minimal. Talking about Antwon Blake today, did do a video on him during the season against the Ravens, but I want to look at his season as a whole because some people really like him, some people don't. His stats, 287 snaps on special teams, 273 on defense, 42 total tackles, and an interception. And we're going to look at the good and bad with Antwon Blake. We'll start with the good. Our first picture here, red zone play. The ability to play the pocket and play with good technique and make up for the lack of size that Blake, of course, has. He's always going to be fighting that. Here is against Dwayne Bowe, back shoulder throw, tough for the corner to play, any corner, I don't care how tall you are, Blake or otherwise. He plays it well, and perfect, really. You're going to see Bowe extend for the ball, pluck his hands away from his body, pluck the football out of the air, and now what Blake does we call playing the pocket. Swipe his hands through Dwayne Bowe's, play the pocket, knock the ball out, cause the incompletion. It's very difficult to cover. You're not going to stop that initial catch. You're going to have to break it up on the way down, and Blake does that. So he played bigger there. Another area where he plays bigger, his ability to hit, impactful, forceful hitter. Go to the end of the half, the first half against Cincinnati. Big hit on Giovanni Bernard out of bounds. It was late in the half. He didn't have to do that. But Blake really shows, that muscle and how he plays bigger than he is. I love that. It's the acceleration, it's the tenacity that he has that allows him to be bigger than he is and really lay the lumber out there. I think he's a forceful, impactful hitter who, again, plays a lot bigger than what he's listed at. You can't take him for granted and assume he's going to be just a wrap-up guy. He can hit you. The last one isn't really a picture, but just watching him throughout the year, I think he's got great straight line speed, a multifaceted special teamer. Talk about him as a jammer, as a gunner, kick coverage, even on the blocking team, on the return team, excuse me. He's up there on the front five. His speed creates issues. They'll try to double vice him whenever Blake is the gunner. He's still broken those multiple times throughout the year. I think he's fluid with that click and close, that acceleration, ability to transition out of your pedal, explode, get downhill. I think Antwon Blake checks all those boxes in that regard, and that makes him a very appealing player. Some of the bad now. We're going to start, again, going back to that Bengals game. This time we're trying to tackle Jeremy Hill, a bigger running back than Bernard out of LSU. Hill, a downhill runner. I think it was a third down play, if memory serves. Blake out on the edge, can't get to Hill, can't bring him down, and Hill ends up picking up the first down. Just one of those things where it's just an obvious mismatch and an advantage for the offense where Blake's going to be the smaller guy and have a hard time wrapping up and bring by himself some of those bigger guys down, receivers and running backs, especially running backs that have a full head of steam trying to get downhill. The second one here is going to be red zone play. And this is a time where he can't overcome his size. Against the Saints, in red zone, basically, a little quick fade to Marcus Colston, obviously a bigger receiver, and Blake can't do anything about it here. He doesn't have the natural length and size to be able to get into the pocket of Colston this time. It's a nice throw from Drew Brees, of course, but one of those just natural losses where you just kind of throw up your hands and say, the offense got us on that one. They exploited a mismatch pre-snap, took advantage of it, and executed. Not a lot Antwon Blake could have done there. The last one is just some reps and some technique. And I know this comes later in the year against the Chiefs, but, it's still something that you're not going to learn overnight or even one season. You're going to learn that 2-3 seasons in as he gets more reps as a defensive back, as a cornerback. You're going to see a cushion here, and he's opening up his hips already. There's no need to. You can still stay in your pedal, read the route of the receiver, and then open your hips only if that receiver starts to eat up your cushion. He doesn't allow an easy completion on the curl route. No reason to open the gate and bail in that situation. So I think there's just repetition which will come natural through again, more reps, more game time, more practice time for Antwon Blake. So, in conclusion, the jury's still out. You really can't say for sure, but I think it comes down, I think I've mentioned this before, maybe on the Terrible Podcast, maybe in an article. Can you live with those natural losses? And that's mainly come in the red zone. He gave up, I think, gave up a couple touchdowns this year, most of them coming in the red zone, because he has that natural disadvantage because of his height. If you can live with some of those losses and some of those times where you put up your hands and say, hey, they got us on that one, I think Blake has a home not only on special teams, because he definitely has a home on special teams, but as that nickel corner as well. Is he going to be a starter in this league? No, his size probably caps that. But I think he can still be a great nickel corner in this league because he's competitive, he's fiery with a short-term memory. I remember in training camp they picked on him every single day. Martavis Bryant scored a million touchdowns on him. He's got that short-term memory, that competitiveness that you need for the position in general, especially a smaller guy who's going to be attacked. I think he can be a strong nickel player. We'll see what happens in the future. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully next week, what I'm going to try to do, if there's enough interest, so let me know in the comments, maybe do an AMA and ask me anything about the Steelers related, either the current roster, the draft, free agency, whatever's on your mind. I do it on Reddit, but I'm not famous or interesting enough to actually have one on there. So maybe we'll kind of just do a potpourri of questions if I get enough responses for next week here on SteelersDepot.com.